One really valuable complement to a mindfulness practice, or whatever you want to call it, a practice of uh, fine-tuning your awareness of what's happening right now, fine-tuning your awareness of who you are, um, the roots of the ways that you react in life, uh, wiping off your lenses so you can see much more clearly. A really helpful complement to that sort of practice is the act of writing. Um, you could call it journaling or keeping a diary or whatever you want to call it, but just taking a few moments each day to write. And it could be writing what happened that day, your intention for the day, or just whatever thoughts come to your mind at that time. But just the act of translating the sort of nebulous stuff that's existing here, everywhere in your mind, and taking that and translating it actually into the written word, uh, changes the stuff itself, and makes you sort of gain some new perspective and insight on that stuff by having to put it down into words. Um, it's kind of like the practice of mental noting in meditation. You have this experience, all this stuff that's happening, and it's this technique of noting future, past, worry, planning, pain. And just by the act of doing that, the stuff actually changes, and you begin to crystallize that experience, and you gain new perspective on it, and you start to see patterns. Um, that can be one really helpful part of journaling, is you start to see patterns in the stuff that you're writing about, and it can give you this new insight about yourself. Um, so that's something that's definitely, it's worth the time and effort to make that a daily practice for yourself of just a little bit of writing, because the act of doing it crystallizes your thought in some way, and you might find that you always gain a little bit from that practice, whatever content you might be writing about. Uh, it's also really valuable, or it can be really helpful to journal right before a meditation, because you might find that you go into a meditation, attempt to settle the mind, attempt to focus on the breath, whatever kind of meditation you're doing, and then realize that your mind goes to something in particular that's been weighing on you, or that is a certain task that you haven't finished, and then all you can think about is that thing. So it can be really helpful to take a little bit of time, just a few minutes, to write out whatever that thing might be that's going to pop up, and have a title for it, and then maybe like one or two things that are unfinished about that, and then what you can do, like what are the next steps to do that. And you might find that that can give you so much more clarity in your meditation practice, because your mind trusts that you've already sort of addressed where you currently stand with this thing. I call that a mind dump. So I like to do mind dumps before meditation sometimes, also afterwards. So experiment with journaling. That can be a really very helpful complement to any sort of practice of fine-tuning your awareness in life.